Welcome back to Special Report. You're taking a look at pictures outside the courthouse in Los Angeles. The man accused of killing Michael Jackson made his way into that courthouse this morning without going through that crowd, a special entrance underneath. Then when he got up on the 9th floor, a woman rushed towards the defendant, Dr. Murray, as he was walking into that courtroom. The woman was stopped and detained by 3 courtroom deputies. She claims she just wanted to talk to Dr. Murray. Not clear what's happening now, but she obviously has been cleared out of that hallway. And you can understand the passion in this case. The passion for Michael Jackson, the most famous man in the world, is dead. And the man who is responsible, is on trial for his death in a criminal courtroom. Opening statements are supposed to be going underway just about now. But we haven't gotten any word from inside the courtroom. I got my eye on the camera that is showing the wall inside, so you're not missing anything inside. Outside the courthouse, though, our own Jane Velez Mitchell is there. Jane, I understand you've been joined by Dr. Murray's pastor?
No, they're on me.
Yes, I have, and I'm sorry to jump in. We're live. Thank you, sir, for joining us. I understand that you are Dr. Murray's pastor.
Here in LA.
Okay.
Hi, Ryan.
Tell me
Yes,
why
Ryan,
you are here and other members of your congregation are here to support Dr. Murray.
I'm here, and supporters of Dr. Murray here and other clergy are here because we want Dr. Murray to have a fair trial. He asked for and requests a fair trial and feels kind of put upon in terms of how things have transpired thus far. The fact that the jury was not sequestered, certain evidence was not allowed or to be admitted. He just wants evidence, to be tried on the basis of the evidence as the facts that will be presented.
Have you talked to Dr. Murray? What is his emotional state?
Hi again,
strong,
Ryan. Actually, I'm with Dr. Murray's friend. Let me just tell you, just because the cameras aren't on in the courtroom doesn't mean the lawyers aren't in there and there isn't business going on. We're not allowed to put the cameras on until the judge calls for the jury. So it is possible that other things are happening in the courtroom right now.
Oh, we on the phone. We talk on the phone frequently.
And how do you know?
He was at church Sunday. We had prayer with him
After
Sunday
I finished law school
at
in
Ruach
Austin,
Christian
Texas,
Community
I moved
Fellowship.
to Houston, Texas.
Can you reveal anything about his trepidations vis-a-vis this morning? I mean, anybody who is going to court
Dr. Murray
as a defendant.
What is he doing with these charges?
I feel strong.
He's very positive and optimistic.
I feel that justice will be done.
He stops me from saying anything negative about Michael or the Jackson.
Jane, we're getting some interference, so I'm going to go to Ted Rollins, who's also outside the courthouse. Ted, you've been at so many big trials. How would you describe what's happening this morning in front of this courthouse and what will happen inside the courthouse with some of the other big trials that you've been at?
Well, here's the difference, is the passion here on day one of a trial. This is the same thing that we saw in the molestation trial of Michael Jackson. The Jackson fans, as you talked to earlier, are just so passionate. And because he is dead, what you saw happen today on the 9th floor was someone approaching Dr. Murray. That's the worst nightmare for sheriff deputies here, because you have people that are very passionate about Michael Jackson. You get someone who's mentally unstable who's very passionate, and there could be trouble for Murray. So that's why he comes in through the bottom. That's why he's got not only his own bodyguards, but the sheriff deputies on full alert when he comes in. And then you add, as you said earlier, the Jackson family. It is, you know, you hate to say it, it's a cliche, a circus, but it's so many, there are so many moving parts. We're in downtown Los Angeles. Security is a huge theme in this trial, more so than others, definitely, even the high-profile ones. When verdicts come down in the other ones, you see the same sort of frenzied atmosphere. This is the opening, much different, and you only wonder what's going to happen down the stretch a month from now when these folks are waiting for a verdict.
Yeah, take it, multiply it by about 1,000. Let's take a look inside the courtroom now, and I'll show you the only thing that we can show you at this moment, because we expect opening statements. They're originally scheduled for a couple of minutes ago, as a matter of fact. That's the seal. That's what the cameras will show when the jury is not inside the courtroom. So right now, you're not missing anything, but we expect those opening statements to start any moment now. But already this morning, Natisha Lance is with me. Natisha, absolutely shocked getting these reports that already Dr. Murray, we understand the passion for Michael Jackson. Day one, he arrives on the 9th floor, and a woman starts rushing towards him, has to be stopped by 3 sheriff's deputies.
Yeah, these are people who strongly support Michael Jackson. You remember these fans, though, in Europe, in Berlin, passing out over Michael Jackson just to see him, and I think they've carried that passion even into his death. I was here covering that when he did pass away. same type of fans at that time, Vinny. You also covered the memorial for Michael Jackson. Fans showed up in droves. They were dressed up in costume, impersonators, so many people, and I expect to see the same thing. And just as Tev was just saying, I think by the time we get to a verdict, you're going to see even more people out there, even more possible craziness, and like he said, it may become a security issue.
Yeah, Mike Brooks, how about that? You know, Dr. Conrad Murray, day one, the trial hasn't even begun with opening statements yet. He steps onto that 9th floor, and all of a sudden a woman rushes towards him, has to be stopped by 3 deputies.
And, you know, Vinny, that 9th floor, there's supposed to be extra security there, so I'm sure that they will now probably adjust their security from what they had originally planned for when Dr. Murray comes from down below all the way up to the 9th floor. They probably most likely will clear that hallway before bringing him in and then bringing anyone else in, or at least have extra deputies up there, because they don't want anything at all like this to happen, especially during the trial. But we haven't even started yet, and there's already issues.
Yeah, A.J. Hammer, host of Showbiz. A.J., you talk about the word fan is short for fanatic, and I don't know if any performer in my lifetime has had the type of fans and the type of passion, the fanaticism that Michael Jackson fans have.
Yeah, well, Vinny, I mean, to put it into perspective, all you have to do is look to the sheer numbers that surround Michael Jackson, his history, and his life. This is a man who was responsible for selling nearly 1 billion albums around the world. Think about that. Think about how many people that means purchased his music, were fans enough of him to buy all that music. Certainly you're going to have super fans. When the This Is It concert tour originally went on sale, remember, it was only 10 dates at the time. 1 million tickets sold in less than 2 hours, Vinny. So having the
we got a lot more to cover. A.J. Hammer, host of Showbiz Tonight, with us. Natisha Lance with us. We are live in L.A. Opening statements any minute now.
The thing is, Jackson never woke up. I bet you remember that day, that moment when you heard that Michael Jackson was dead. Well, now the doctor you see there on the left-hand side is charged with involuntary manslaughter. So I want to introduce you to some of the players here. The lead prosecutor in this trial is David Walgren. He's the deputy district attorney with the Los Angeles County Major Crimes Division. Walgren joined the DA's office back in 1996. He was the prosecutor in the Roman Polanski rape case. And the lead defense attorney is Ed Chernoff. He's a former prosecutor who only lost 1 felony trial out of 40. In 1 year as a defense attorney, Chernoff won all 5 cases that he tried, and it only took jurors 1 hour, 15 minutes total to reach their verdicts. So boy, is this guy adroit or what? Let's see what he can do for Conrad Murray. If you look at the bottom of your screen there to the left, that's a countdown clock, counting down the hours, minutes, and seconds until today's opening statements. And can't you wait to see what they're going to pull out of their hats for this? Let's go to in-session correspondent Jean Casares and Beth Karras, who are both in Los Angeles right now as we talk about opening statements. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
All righty, let's talk about this. We were curious to know. Let me ask you, Jean, first. How did you prepare for opening statements in a big case?
Well, you know, as an attorney and as a correspondent for Court TV in session for many, many years.
For FEMA, that's the Disaster Relief Agency, and that allowed the Senate to approve a temporary...
Here, and they're saying, please pray for justice for Michael Jackson.
Pray for justice for MJ. Pray for justice for MJ. Pray for justice for MJ. Pray
yes, I'm here. I hear you.
Let me ask you, let me stop you for 1 second with your chant. I mean, they're praying and they're supporting a human being. You seem to be chanting against their prayer, or how do I don't want to misinterpret it. What are you chanting for? Obviously, it's connected to them praying.
Well, we want justice for Michael Jackson. I really don't believe that they really know the whole story. I think that maybe he was a good doctor to them, but let's ask Michael Jackson what kind of a doctor he was to him. He's not around.
Let me ask you, ma'am. Okay, some of them are not as... Thank you. I understand. But okay, we've got somebody who disagrees with you right here.
I'm here, Cheryl. Well, you know, I'm in front where the chanting just was.
We can agree to disagree, and one thing about it is we all need to put closure to this. And the truth of the matter is, the bull moose in the room is the powers that be and the Hollywood machine has caused a lot of this. And so what we need to be addressing is what really goes on in Hollywood. Okay, this is only one case and one example. Now, if Michael was here, Michael would want peace. And like we said before, we're not here to battle against each other. We're here for peace, and we're here for justice on both sides.
Thank you so much. And I want to point out one thing. This is just an absolute microcosm, a sampling of the people around the world who are concerned about this case, who are focused in on it. We talked to a lady who came from Berlin. Where did you come from, ma'am?
I'm from Oklahoma.
You came from Oklahoma for this?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because I want justice. I'm tired of seeing Michael's name dragged through the mud. There's no way any of this is coming on. I mean, they've said some horrible things. They said it years ago when he was supposedly, you know, going out molesting kids. No, he wasn't. It was proven.
Okay, we're going to talk to
time again. Look what he's done for everybody. Look what he's done for the world.
So you feel that Michael Jackson is just misunderstood in general, and that now in death you don't want him to be misunderstood again?
Exactly. I'm tired of hearing this, and it makes me angry.
Why you? Why are you angry?
Because I've
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He is the soundtrack of our lives.
Hey, Jane, sounds like we got a little problem with the audio feed again. We're getting some cross feed on that. AJ Hammer, I want to go to you because one of the first witnesses scheduled to testify is going to be Kenny Ortega. This is a man very well respected, has worked with Michael Jackson for years. Can you explain his relationship with Michael Jackson and what he might be able to add and shed light on in this case?
Well, I think, you know, Kenny Ortega was somebody who was involved with Michael Jackson's concert production for This Is It. He obviously had been spending time with Michael Jackson, and I think, you know, if they're going to stay in the present, they're going to be looking to Kenny very much for state of mind, for physical ability, and how, you know, how much stamina Michael actually had. It's very interesting, having seen the This Is It concert movie, to think back that the footage that we saw in that film shows Michael just days before he actually died. It's remarkable to think about that, and it certainly did not show a man who was struggling. It did not show a man who did not look capable of performing. So I think that's one thing that Kenny is going to be able to bring into the picture. As you see, he was a choreographer, director, and producer who had worked with Michael for many, many years. They had a close relationship, and he probably understood Michael in a personal way that I have a feeling they'll want to tap into when they're questioning him during the trial. So we're going to have to see what plays out with Kenny when he takes a stand, ultimately, and which side it can benefit more, because everybody's going to be looking to every single witness to show how it may play out better for their side of the case, and there are arguments to be made on both sides. Was he getting in over his head doing a concert tour with 50 dates? Was this too much for Michael, given his state of mind, given his state of physicality? And I think those are among the things that they'll be looking for with Kenny Ortega.
And Natisha Lance also with us. Natisha, Nancy Grace, producer. Kenny Ortega could be a very crucial witness early on. We expect him perhaps to be the first witness. Who else do we expect early? Do we know?
Right. Well, just to go into Kenny Ortega a little bit, he was also the first witness in the preliminary hearing. And some of the things that we learned at that time is that 6 days prior to Michael Jackson's death, he was called to this meeting with Conrad Murray. And the day before that, he had sent Michael Jackson home from rehearsal because he said that he seemed to be lost. He seemed a little bit out of it. So he wanted him to get some rest. In this meeting with Conrad Murray said, "You let me handle Michael Jackson's health. You worry about the things that you have to do. I'll handle his health. Michael is fine emotionally as well as physically. Don't worry about it." And so Kenny Ortega, that's what he said during the preliminary hearing. I expect him to say the same thing.
That would set some tone inside the courtroom. Right. You do that early on. Here's what's happening in the courtroom right now, folks. You're not missing anything. If you take a look at the live shot, we're going to see a picture of the seal. That's what the camera will show you when the jury's not in the courtroom. What we understand is that there's something happening in chambers with the attorneys, the judge, and one of the jurors. And a juror issue early on in this case. You know, you have 12 and you got the alternates, but you don't want to lose anybody this early before the case even starts. Opening statements could happen at any moment. When they do, you will see them live right here on HLN. HLN special report in our coverage of the trial of the man accused of killing Michael Jackson. That's a shot from inside the courtroom. Any moment now, that camera will pan back and away from the seal and onto the action in the courtroom, and we expect opening statements. Right now, Natisha Lance is with me. Natisha, what are we getting from inside the courtroom? What's happening?
Well, the general public has been admitted into the courtroom. The judge is now just taking the bench, according to our producer who's inside the courtroom. Also, the family is inside the courtroom. The media was held back for just a little bit, but it looks like things are about to start pretty soon.
About to start, and that's good news. Mike Galanos is with us. Mike, I'm thinking about, opening statements, and, you go back a few months ago and how our jaws dropped during those opening statements by Jose Baez down in Orlando in the trial of the woman accused of killing Kaylee Marie Anthony. I expect something similar today, and I'll tell you why, Mike, because the defense has to have some sort of theme, and if they're going to go and say Michael Jackson may have done this to himself, I think they have to do it in their opening statement to set the tone and lay the foundation for all their cross-examination of all these witnesses that are going to be put up by the prosecution.
No, I agree with you, Vinny. I believe that the prosecution is going to start strong, and all they have to do is look at that timeline, the hours leading up to Michael Jackson's death, and that screams substandard care, right? And Michael Jackson ended up dead because of Conrad Murray's negligence. So what's the defense going to do to counter that? How all of the sedatives, all the medications he gave him topped off with propofol, which shouldn't even be given in a home setting, if you ask all the experts. So I'm with you. I am excited to hear what the defense is going to come with. What is their theory to explain away Dr. Murray's actions?
Yeah, all right, we're looking at we were looking at a shot of the seal. If we get that seal back up, we're getting word that the judge is on the bench and they've called for the jury. So at any moment, let's just keep that shot up. Any moment that gets pulled back, the judge is on the bench. Let's go in live.
SA 073